Hey, my name is Jimmy Cooper. I'm the Green Party nominee for the 2018 election for Georgia's 8th Congressional District of the United States House of Representatives. Like millions of other Americans, I'm appalled at the news of children of immigrants being ripped from their parents' arms, and at the images and audio recordings of children in distress after being separated from their families, and at the video recordings of children being kept in cages. And now the Trump administration claims that all the families will be reunited. But first of all, this should have never happened in the first place. Secondly, many of those children have still yet to be reunited with their families. Thirdly, many of those children, once they are reunited, will just be locked up together with their families. And fourthly, the Trump administration is still pursuing its zero tolerance policy on what it calls illegal immigration. And this policy is not out of character for this particular president. It's typical from what we've seen from him both as a candidate and as president of the United States. The truth is that Donald Trump is an extreme narcissist who says what he has to appeal to his base, but in truth doesn't really believe in anything, and whose only goals are to enrich himself and to stroke his own ego. Those are the reasons why he ran for president. He never actually expected to win the election. He ran to stroke his own ego and to generate publicity for a new TV network that he wanted to start. As president, Trump has done everything he can to divide the American people. He's embraced white supremacists and ideological extremists. As a candidate, Trump based his campaign on insulting and trying to hurt those who ran against him. As both a candidate and as president, Trump has made a habit of insulting and trying to hurt those who stand up to him. During his campaign on more than one occasion, Trump actually encouraged his supporters to enact violence against protesters at his campaign rallies. A man running for president of the United States of America encouraged violence against American citizens. At one point during his campaign, Trump openly and blatantly mocked a reporter with a disability, which shows just how low Trump will stoop to try and hurt somebody who stands up to him. There was a time in American history, actually for the entirety of American history, up until just very recently, that would have ended the career of any public figure in the United States of America, especially somebody in government or running for public office, regardless of what party they represented. Their own party would have turned against them. Their closest allies would have abandoned them. Even their strongest supporters would have turned against them and demanded that they drop out of the race or resign from public office. The American people would not have tolerated that kind of behavior because the American people were better than that. The very fact that today a candidate running for any office, especially President of the United States of America, can do something like that and still get elected is a shameful commentary on just how divided and polarized and partisan the people of our nation have become, that people would vote for somebody like that just to keep the other side from winning. And here's the thing. Hillary Clinton was wrong. Most of the people who voted for Trump are not deplorables. They just did the same thing as most of those who voted for Clinton. They saw two crappy candidates running for president, and they voted for what they believed to be the lesser of two evils. The Democratic Party should have nominated Bernie Sanders, and if it did, Bernie Sanders would be president today, and we would be headed in the right direction. And if the majority of American voters had had the courage to reject the two-party duopoly over American politics and vote for Jill Stein, she would be president today, and we would be headed in the right direction. But unfortunately, in the general election, the majority of voters chose either Trump or Clinton. And although each candidate had their die-hard supporters, the fact is that both candidates were extremely unpopular with the American public in general. And the majority of people who voted either way did so as a vote for what they believed to be the lesser of two evils. And for those who voted that way, I get it. I disagree with the way that you voted, but I get it. The thing is, though, for those who voted for Trump, not only did you make a wrong decision, you made the worst possible decision that you could have made. It's not the first time that millions of Americans have made the wrong choice for president or for any other office. People make mistakes. As long as people can recognize it and admit it and try to do the right thing going forward, then hopefully we can fix what other damages may occur at some point. But I have to say something now, and I don't say this lightly, because I'm running for Congress in an extremely gerrymandered red district in Middle and South Georgia. And I'm running as a Green Party candidate, which means if I'm going to win, I'm going to have to win votes from every side. I need to win votes from among Republicans. I need to win votes from among Democrats. I need to win votes from among independents. Of course, I need to win votes from among third-party voters. So it does not make sense for me to. And the last thing I want to do is to alienate anybody. However, I will not mince words when it comes to the hateful policies of Donald Trump, and particularly on his cruel and inhumane immigration policy. And so I say this now to all Trump supporters. And I say this as a brother who cares enough about you to tell you the truth. Whether you're a diehard Trump supporter or a loyal Republican or somebody who voted for Trump as the lesser of two evils, if, after everything we've seen from Trump now, after he's embraced white supremacists and ideological extremists, after he's made a habit of insulting and mocking and trying to hurt those who stand up to him, if after he's encouraged violence against people who stand up to him, and especially now after we've seen his hateful immigration policies and the way he treats children, if after all that you still support and approve Donald Trump as President of the United States of America, then shame on you. Shame on you. There has to be a point where we put politics aside and stand up for what is right. When we look at what our government is doing right now, the way it's treating people, the way it's treating children, I have to ask each of my fellow Americans, is this who we want to be? Is this who we want to be as a nation and as a people? There is a Holocaust-inspired poem that was published in 1955 and written by a Lutheran pastor named Martin Niemöller, which reads, "First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. It's time for the American people to join together and to stand up for what's right. All of the American people, regardless of where we stand on the political spectrum, whether we're on the left or the right or anywhere in between, it's time for the American people to join together and to work together for the common good. And whatever our differences are, we can work things out. If we're willing to work together for the good of all of us and to build trust and to listen to one another and to compromise with one another as necessary, we can work things out. But we can only do so by joining together and working together and by not allowing people like Donald Trump to divide us. Trump's immigration policy is cruel and inhumane. And the thing is, many of those immigrants whose families have been torn apart are not even here illegally. They came here seeking asylum and are going through the legal process, and their children were still taken away from them and put in cages. And even those who are here illegally, they're just people. They're just like us. They're coming here seeking the safety and protection of their family. Many of them are fleeing crime and terrorism and violence and war in their own nations. And they're just trying to find a place where they can get a good job and provide for their families and keep their children safe. The inscription on the Statue of Liberty, which serves as the gateway to our nation in the North Atlantic, reads, "Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gate shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." This is what America is supposed to be. The way to make a nation great is for its people to do what's right and its government to do what's right. Instead of prosecution and imprisonment and deportation, let's offer a path to citizenship to immigrants in the United States, including those who are here illegally, so that they too can share in the American dream. I have one more quote. This one comes from the Bible. The Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 25, verses 31 through 45. "When the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. Before him will be gathered all the nations, and he will separate them one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he will place the sheep at his right hand, but the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right hand, 'Come, O blessed of my Father. Inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundations of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.' Then the righteous will answer him, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?' And then the king will answer them, 'Truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these my brethren, you did it to me.' Then he will say to those on his left hand, 'Depart from me, for I was hungry and you gave me no food. I was thirsty and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger and you did not welcome me. Naked and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison and you did not visit me.' Then they will answer, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister to you?' Then he will answer them, 'Truly I say to you, As you did it not to one of the least of these, you did it not to me. My brothers and sisters, I implore each and every American, if you're not already doing so, to stand up and speak out against the hateful policies of the Trump administration. Let's oppose Trump's immigration policy. Let's demand the release of all those being detained. Let's demand that all the families be reunited. And let's demand amnesty and a path to citizenship for immigrants here in the United States. It's the right thing to do. It's the compassionate thing to do. It's the human thing to do. And from now going forward, let all of the American people join together and work together for what's right. Compassion, equality, tolerance, acceptance, and the good of all people. And let's listen to our consciences when we cast our votes this November and in every election going forward. All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. But if the American people stand together for what's right, we can change our nation for the better. Thank you for listening. This is Jimmy Cooper signing out. More videos to come.